Hulk Hogan, the rise, fall, and eternal legacy of wrestling's icon. In the Golden Sands of Augusta, Georgia, on August 11, 1953, a child was born who would one day become larger than life, not just in size, but in spirit. Terry Eugene Bollea wasn't always the iconic figure the world would come to know as Hulk Hogan. As a young boy growing up in Tampa, Florida, he was quiet, introspective, and passionate about baseball and music. He strummed a bass guitar long before he slammed giants into the canvas. But everything changed the day Terry walked into a small wrestling show at the Armory in Tampa. The roar of the crowd, the electrifying energy, the pure theater of it all. It lit a fire in him. At 6 feet 7 inches and over 300 pounds of raw muscle, he was already a physical force. But it wasn't until he trained under Hiro Matsuda, a no-nonsense Japanese wrestler and coach, that Terry was forged into steel. Matsuda broke his leg on the first day of training, a harsh lesson that wrestling wasn't for the faint of heart. But Terry returned, day after day, through pain and setbacks, and Matsuda finally saw it in him. This wasn't just a man. This was a machine built for the ring. Hulkamania is born. By the early 1980s, wrestling was changing. Vince McMahon Jr. had taken over the World Wrestling Federation, WWF, from his father and was looking for a star. Someone who could cross boundaries, reach new audiences, and explode wrestling into mainstream entertainment. He found that star in Hulk Hogan. After a brief appearance in Rocky III as Thunder Lips, Hogan's charisma was undeniable. With his long blonde mustache, orange skin, bandana, and 24-inch pythons, Hulk Hogan became the face of professional wrestling. Hulkamania swept the world. His mantra, train, say your prayers, and eat your vitamins, inspired millions of children across America. He was no longer just a wrestler, he was a superhero in flesh. His feuds with the likes of Andre the Giant, Macho Man Randy Savage, and the Ultimate Warrior became the stuff of legend. WrestleMania 3, 1987. 93,173 fans packed the Pontiac Silverdome. Hogan body-slammed Andre the Giant, a moment frozen in time. Hulkamania had reached its apex, but all legacies face shadows. By the early 90s, fans were growing tired of the all-American hero gimmick. The industry was changing. Realism, anti-heroes, and grittiness began to dominate. Hogan's bright red and yellow began to feel outdated. Then came the scandals. Allegations of steroid use shook the foundations of the WWF. Hogan, once untouchable, was forced to testify in court. Though never convicted of wrongdoing, the damage was done. The hero had fallen, at least for a moment. He stepped away from the ring, and for a time, it seemed like the era of Hulkamania was truly over. But legends don't stay buried. In 1996, Hogan shocked the world. At WCW Bash at the Beach, he turned heel, aligning with Kevin Nash and Scott Hall to form the New World Order, NWO. The man who told kids to say your prayers was now dressed in black, spray painting belts and mocking his former fans. It was brilliant. Hulk Hogan had reinvented himself again. The NWO storyline ignited wrestling into another boom period. Ratings skyrocketed. Hogan, now Hollywood Hogan, became the ultimate villain. The crowd booed, but the world couldn't look away. It proved that he wasn't just a character. He was a master of storytelling, psychology, and performance. Outside the ring, life was not so glamorous. Hogan's marriage crumbled. A reality TV show, Hogan Knows Best, exposed the cracks in his family. Then came the darkest storm. In 2015, a leaked tape revealed Hogan making racist comments in a private conversation. The fallout was immediate. WWE erased him from their Hall of Fame page. Sponsors disappeared. Public opinion turned harsh and unforgiving. The hero turned villain had become a man lost in his own myth. For years, Hogan disappeared from the public eye, forced to look in the mirror, not as Hulk Hogan but as Terry Bollea. But redemption, while rare, is never impossible. Hogan apologized publicly, privately, and repeatedly. In 2018, WWE quietly reinstated him into their Hall of Fame. In 2021, he co-hosted WrestleMania. Some fans cheered, others booed, but all watched. More importantly, a new generation began to learn about what Hulk Hogan meant to people. To a boy battling cancer in the 80s, Hogan was a reason to smile. To a generation of wrestlers, John Cena, Batista, Roman Reigns, he was the blueprint. To the industry itself, Hogan was the match that lit the global fire. Behind the controversies, behind the fame, behind the showbiz, there was a man who had carried an entire industry on his back. Hulk Hogan may never be universally loved again. But that's okay, legends are complicated. In a wrestling school in Clearwater, Florida, Terry Bollea now trains young wrestlers, not to be the next Hulk Hogan, but to be the best version of themselves. He teaches them how to connect with fans, how to respect the business, and how to endure the highs and lows. When he steps into the occasional WWE event, fans chant, "Hogan! Hogan!" One hand to his ear, he listens. The energy is still there. It always will be. Hulk Hogan may have slammed giants, headlined WrestleMania, and changed pop culture, but his true legacy is this: he made people believe. In good times and bad, in triumph and scandal, in fame and obscurity, Hulk Hogan remains a legend. Not because he was perfect, but because he was human. And in the world of wrestling, that makes him immortal. The END, but Hulkamania lives forever.